Yes, ready to start. I'll do this in English to start with. That's okay with you? Because you're now full on screen, Stuart.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
That's it. That's all the Swedish I know.
It's a good start. It's a good start. Great to have you with us. I'll do in a minute just the agenda and maybe besides that we have also Rebecca who is helping us with the recording, and we also have Andreas, where I need to just get rid of this message. Right, Andreas, hello. There you are. Beautiful, I shouldn't say cars, trucks on the background.
Trucks. Yes, I know. Thanks for letting me in. Interesting topic. Eager to listen, even if I'm in other part of Sweden.
Yeah.
Happy to join.
Yeah, great. So this is kind of the startup, and for a minute I will just change. Hello. We have another participant. Very good. So the agenda for today, this is like a meetup. I'll get a little bit to about what that is about, but I think quite a few of you have been at such occasions. But first of all, also then a little bit about who is who around the table here and online. And then Stuart will do his presentation, as you notice, online. He is somewhere else, though actually we can say that already now that one of his colleagues is coming here also next week to give another presentation at a conference, and there's even a chance to meet. If you think that it's very interesting what you hear, then there is a chance to meet up with one of those experts. And then basically, well, I've called it deepen. Basically with the warm-up from Stuart, we will only continue here in the room physically to basically talk about how can we get prioritization to work, share ideas, knowledge, experience, and of course we will contribute from our end as well. And that's also why I have Mika with me and Mats. But again, before we fully introduce ourselves, again, this is about sharing and getting to know some people that are in the same field, and maybe you make connections that you feel are very relevant and interesting. So that's also about Meetup. It's not only about us, it's about being Olingo and F-Trade. It's also about you very much. Couple of house rules for simplicity, basically only two. Let's give each other the chance to talk. Don't hesitate. Because the second rule is what is in formal terms sometimes called the Chatham rules. I don't know if you know them. What happens in this room stays in this room. Yeah, so please feel free to share. Nothing of this will get out unless you allow us to, but there's no reason. So we apply that so you feel comfortable in sharing anything of your experience and knowledge with each other. So that's about that. And then, the theme, I think we're all somehow here engaged in portfolio management as managers in running a portfolio and making it work, or as a project leader to be, the one that has to take on the prioritized project possibly, and how do I manage that? But it's really about how can we get more done by sometimes doing less. And this is what we would like to dwell on a little bit with you and make sure that, we prioritize more. But how do we do that in an effective way? We will share some thoughts on that. We hope that you can share some experience and we learn from each other. So that's basically the idea of the meetup and the theme for today. Then also, who is who? Some of you already said hi to each other, but maybe we can do a quick round around the table and finish up online. If you, Andreas, wants, if I start on the left-hand side here with Linda, we go around Andreas, and then Stuart, you can be the final one and start your presentation. Does that sound all right? And I thought name, role, connection to portfolio management. What is a challenge around portfolio management that you identify? An expectation on today. Anything that you would like to gain from when you get out of this door, and maybe a dream, whatever. Just think of a dream. What comes up in your mind? It doesn't have to, or maybe shouldn't be work related. Anything that comes up in you. Linda, can I ask you? Yeah.
My name is Linda Larsson, working as Swedbank at CFO Management Office. We have setting up a new kind of structure regarding our portfolio work. And I am the lead for the CFO Office portfolio. And this is really new. This is the first time we'll actually do it this way. So this is a completely new challenge for us. And we have lots of challenges trying to figure out how to do this prioritization regarding different units, different aspects, and everything like that. And so my expectation is that you will come to give me a solution and input how to actually do this. And the dream is that I will present the silver bullet solutions to come to the management.
Exactly. Sounds good. Thanks, Linda. Yeah, great.
My name is Mikael Pilebro. I work at Olingo as a consultant, and I'm a contractor at Prioritization right now. Experience with setting up portfolio, safe portfolio, and also been dealing with the prioritization quite a lot on the portfolio level and train level, getting some features as a challenge and very efficient if you get it working. The challenge is to release what you're interested in and in your specific area, and think of and move to a company level. I think of what's best for the company. That's always a challenge when you prioritize. release your own baby.
Hmm.
And
Let go of your own baby. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And dream is to get working portfolio at the AFA Försäkring. Yeah, that's right.
That should not be not work related.
Should not have.
I know what you're thinking about when you're home.
Yeah. And by the way, I didn't say, so if you feel like I want to do this in Swedish, do it in Swedish, just so with respect of everything. So, but just having said that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
no.
My name is Annika Alén, and I'm new at AFA since October. I'm responsible for the portfolio management office, and I'm also located in the CIO office. And there are some steps taken in the portfolio management level at AFA, but we have a big challenge in front of us in governance and stuff like that. So I'm just building a new setup for the portfolio management, but I've been doing this in Folksam for several years. So I know it can work. My expectations on this meeting is to change to
Exchange. Yeah.
exchange challenges and solutions maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, and my dream is like your dream. When I go in pension, I maybe have a working portfolio management at AFA, so they can do it by themselves when I'm gone.
Great. Thanks for sharing that, Annika.
Yeah.
My name is Charlotte Flanagan. I work at AFA as well, and AFA Insurance, and I am responsible for their projects, project manager. And how does that go well with the portfolio management? And we work agile and scrum and work with teams. So the projects we are running are usually big, but how does it work and fit into this model? I want to be able to support them to understand. So we as a company are doing the best prioritization. Our challenge today is that our supportive resources are limited. So we are doing too much. My dream is to start running outside.
Very good.
Achievable dream.
I took it down.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, I'm Pettersson. I work as an IT portfolio manager and BIO, Business Information Officer, in Vattenfall Heat. And I've been struggling for the last year being alone, trying to drive our digital portfolio. Now I suddenly got some company, and I have Martin contributing there as well with all the different challenges.
Oh, sure.
And yeah, there are a lot of challenges, but I think that the main one is really to getting the business to see that IT digitalization is part of the business and not something working on the side. So having the whole strategy and portfolio integrated into the business. Expectation of this, well, find out what Martin is doing when he's not working. And well, network and hear more about what others are doing. And a dream is to go away for a couple of days at least this summer, do a climbing trip. Yeah, I think it's achievable.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. My name is Mats Persson. I work at a sister company to Olingo that is called F3.
Yeah.
Said it the other way around. I've been both working with portfolio management and teaching portfolio management. Also being subjected to portfolio management when someone else takes the decision to do more than you can, and which is maybe a little bit of the current situation. So that's, of course, creates an interest in the topic, trying to get a healthy work-life balance. Dream to have a long summer vacation, similar to you, to really relax.
My name is Lan Jia. I'm working at a company called Prioritization. And compared to the companies you are presenting, it's very small. Only have 10 people in the Sweden team. But we have R&D in UK and the production site in China. And while I'm here, I'm a project manager there, only one. And prioritization is like a daily task here for me and for the whole team because the limited resources and parallel project. So, prioritize we already do every day, but I want to know how can we do it more smart and better way. Yeah, here I want to, as you want to connect and also to learn more. Dream and yeah, it's also prioritize is not only at work, and sometimes I need to prioritize work or life or weekend. That's something I can dream to work it out better.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, great to have you here too. I'll do a quick one. So, you know, my name, my role, I'm a consultant, I'm training, also in the SAFE area, in other agile areas, and also originally actually in IT service management. A quick note on, I mean, why we initiated this is actually that I had the fortune to give a lean portfolio management training where Linda was and a few others. And that kind of triggered me. Quite a few were there in kind of starting this journey. And I thought, hey, this is something, because of course, always at these trainings, you cover a little, but there's always a feeling that you want to do more and also get this kind of exchange between, you know, companies, organizations. So that's a little bit the background also. Yeah, challenges have been mentioned. For me, the expectation is that you are, as I already indicated, are open, contribute, don't hold back, please. And my dream is, if I may say two, is one that we could repeat this with another theme. That would be hopefully a dream. And another one is, again, that was the first thought, is climbing in the Alps this summer. That would be nice. Or hiking, I should say climbing, hiking. So that's me. And Andreas, let me bring you up on the screen. So we see you. But you can start.
Well. Yeah. Andreas Bengtsson, working in Olingo Group in Group Trucks Technology, and I actually inherited. I've been product manager. I've been portfolio manager before, but I've inherited the portfolio now once again in the service area, service and service platform area, which is a mix of both hardware, software, and application systems. Yeah, challenging technology all over the place. Putting this challenge is always of putting these blocks together, understanding the dependencies, and also to set to get the priority for the different initiatives, and also to involve people, or other people as well, into the prioritization, I would say, and also there is always a limit in resource and money and budget and things like that. So that's, yeah, I recall the same theme. So that's why I hooked up. I got a commercial made from this. This is just interesting to listen and learn and see other outsiders as well, see what can happen. That was my expectation, and I tried to hook up with Martin here to just see if it's possible to do it online. So I'm thankful for that.
Mhm.
What did I miss? My
The dream.
The dream. The dream is I'm an engineer from previously, but and actually I think that one way of I think a work dream actually, but it's getting these things to operate continuously without so much involvement, and that's a bit of the key thing. You shouldn't be a bottleneck in any way. You should be able to get the governance and steering and an operation that's been running. That's a bit of the goal, getting a flow to work.
Yeah, flow, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Andreas. And
will-
then we head over
Turn
to,
off my camera because I'm sitting a little bit back. So
yeah, that's all right. Great. Stuart, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, I think so.
Okay, so I'm Stuart Easton, and I'm the CEO and one of the founders of Transparent Choice, which is a software company that focuses in this area of prioritization and portfolio management. I also guest lecture at, gosh, a whole bunch of universities on the topic of portfolio management in particular, and do loads of speaking with the PMI and the APM and a bunch of other people again around topics of portfolio management. The key challenge I think that we have as an industry. So I'm going to talk as the industry for a second about I'll try and stick to your themes, Martin, of challenges and so forth. Right. So the key challenge I think is that fundamentally most people misunderstand two things about prioritization. The first one is they misunderstand the how, and then they misunderstand what prioritization is actually for. And you'll get more of that by the end of the session, hopefully. So we'll come back to both of those topics in a little while. In terms of Endrom, a dream, gosh, that's a difficult one, right? So in business, I think my dream is to change the culture a little bit of the entire project management community. That's only a small dream, right? How can that go wrong? And by that I mean I really want to get the whole industry thinking about eggs, which again will make sense by the end of this presentation, not ducks. All right, and you'll understand what I mean by this shortly. I've been hitting this for about 2 years now, pretty hard on doing lots and lots of speaking at conferences and things like that. And I'm really excited because increasingly I turn up to conference calls and people actually have ducks on their desk, and you'll get why that's important shortly. Another dream, if I may, which is just the personal one, which is I have twin boys. They're 16 years old, and my wife and I are I'm in Dublin Airport right now. I'm actually on vacation today, and I've taken my wife away for a 4-day break in Dublin, and for the first time ever, we have left our 16-year-old twin boys in the house alone. So my dream is that I get home and we still have a house. So Martin, do you want to jump into the presentation, or shall we?
Yes,
do you want to talk a little more?
Please do. You can start. So let's see. You can share and.
All right. Let me know when you can see the screen.
You can. I just need
Beautiful.
to.
Excellent. All right. So now Martin is a hard taskmaster. He's given me 20 minutes. I'll do my best to keep it to around 20 minutes. Now you'll see there's a big QR code here. What I'm not going to do today is dive into lots of detail into how to do prioritization. But online, if you scan this QR code, fill in the form, there are ebooks on how to do prioritization. We have detailed guides on how to build build criteria that work. We have all kinds of stuff, right? So feel free, I'll put this up again at the end. Feel free to grab that. And there's loads of information that will help you get started on the how. But what I want to talk about today is project prioritization and artificial intelligence, and what does it mean for portfolio management? But crucially, why do executives love it? Right? Why is prioritization and portfolio management so important to the executives? And so we're going to jump straight into this with a story. A friend of mine, a guy called Roberto Camaño, was presenting his project to the CEO of one of the world's biggest oil and gas companies. And halfway through his presentation, the CEO stopped him and he said, "Roberto, I don't care if you have a boy duck or a girl duck. I just want eggs." Right? So I don't care about the details of your project. I don't want to hear about your burn down chart, and I don't want to see another Gantt chart in my whole life. I just want the business value. Right? So throughout this presentation, we're going to talk about eggs and ducks. Ducks are your projects. The execs don't really care. The eggs, that's what they care about. All right, so they care about the eggs. And I want to get the whole industry thinking about this. Now, so executives only care about the outcomes, they care about the eggs. This should not surprise anybody, right? At least anybody who speaks English, because it's right there in the name, right? They are execs. And so they only care about the eggs. Now, this has an implication for anybody who is in the PMO role or is in portfolio management and even project delivery, right? Because it helps you redefine your job. Your job is no longer, right? As of this second, your job description has changed. Your job is not to deliver projects. Your job is to deliver eggs, to deliver more value to the organization, right? So it doesn't matter how many projects, or if you do 1 million projects or no projects, if you can improve the return on investment to the organization, the value, the eggs that they get, then you are doing your job, right? And every organization needs different things to release that value, right? And I'm going to talk about some of those today. So there are really only 3 things from a portfolio management point of view that you can do to deliver more egg. And they all start, by the way, they're all based on project prioritization, which is why that is the foundation of portfolio management. You can't do good portfolio management without a really solid foundation of prioritization. So 3 things you can do. You can deliver bigger eggs, right? So that's about better strategic alignment. You can deliver more eggs, more projects, and you can break fewer eggs, right? So that means fewer projects delivered late or over budget. You make sure that more projects actually deliver the business benefits, right? Because a project that doesn't deliver the benefits is a waste, right? You just wasted all that effort. Here's the big idea. Right? Portfolio management has the potential in just about every organization to double the return on investment from your portfolio. So the organization is spending money and resources, investing money and resources into a portfolio projects. They expect a return. And portfolio management has the potential to double the return from that investment in projects. Okay. That seems to me, actually, quick show of hands at this point, who thinks that I'm completely crazy and it's time to leave the room? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes, there we go. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, no, that's a normal reaction when I walk in the room, by the way. So we're gonna have some fun, right? Because it's all eggs, and we've just established that this is a crazy challenge, and you need some kind of superhero to pull it off. So we've got some duck-related superheroes here that we're going to use, the Egg Avengers. We're going to have some fun. So the first question has to be: is this doable? Are we completely mad? So no, this is not some kind of duck unicorn chase, right? Of something that doesn't exist. This is a good friend of mine, a chap called Mike Hannon. Mike has been using the techniques that I'm going to talk about in this presentation to more than double the eggs. And he's been doing this for decades. What's changed? And this is why the title of the talk had the AI piece in there. What's changed is that technology now lets everyone do this, right? You don't need to be a theory of constraints, that TOC thing in the top left stands for theory of constraints. You don't need to be a theory of constraints guru like Mike to make this happen anymore. And Mike's had input into the product, and it's one of our partners, and we love working with them. So this is absolutely doable. You can see the numbers here. I'm not going to walk through them. You can see those numbers, but it's absolutely doable. And the journey starts with some basic facts, right? So the duckling of Asgard is unhappy, right? He's pretty angry at this point because the PMI did some research, and they discovered that 20% of a typical portfolio is so badly aligned with the goals of the organization that they should be stopped. That's a pretty good definition of waste. Again, we don't have time in this slot to talk a lot about the detail here, but there is an army of researchers that look at this topic, right? It is so key to the performance of organization that there's a whole army of researchers that look into the psychology and the processes and methodologies for prioritizing projects. And University of New South Wales, for example, looked at over 100 different methods of prioritizing projects and came to the conclusion that only 2 of them were suitable for prioritization in a complex organization. And everyone in the room today, I think we can agree, works for a complex organization. So those 2 methods, this is where you can write stuff down if you like, but the alternative would be just scan the QR code and all the information is there on how to do this stuff. The 2 methods are called DEA, Data Envelopment Analysis, and AHP, Analytic Hierarchy Process. They are terrible names, right? Don't be put off by the names. AHP is actually, DEA is actually quite difficult to implement. AHP is pretty straightforward. That's why we built it into our software, into our product, and it's the process that we recommend to everyone in a complex organization. So what is AHP at a really high level? It's about getting your leadership aligned first. So when 2 leaders, and you've probably all seen this, right? You get two senior people, right? They're staring at each other over the table and they're arguing about a project. Right? My project's better than yours. No, my project's better than yours. They're not actually arguing about which project's better. What they're disagreeing about is which goals are more important for them to achieve. Because if they agreed on that, then they would agree which projects would help them achieve those goals. Right? So this is the absolute root cause of so much pain in project land. Right? Is the fact that the executive team are trying to pull you in different directions because they are not aligned on what they're trying to achieve. AHP has a really good way of getting them aligned. You then score your projects against those goals, right? So you use them as criteria, you score the projects, and then you organize your project and select a portfolio that works. And when you do this, you end up with much better quality decisions, with much less randomness. Many of you maybe have tried to prioritize projects with some kind of scoring mechanism, and you may have had that experience when you built your massive spreadsheet, you present the data, and the execs say, that project's in the wrong place, right? When you use AHP, you get a lot less of that because your data is cleaner. There's much less noise and randomness, which means that you end up with a portfolio that is properly aligned to your goals. All right. So, sometime around now, somebody, I'm sure someone in the room is sitting there thinking, yeah, we could just build a spreadsheet. That'll do the job. Well, let me just say, spreadsheets and executive presentations and all the rest of it, right? That's what is giving us our 20% waste. So I would put it to you that your spreadsheets are not free. Okay, so let's pretend that we are investing $10 million, 10 million euros, don't really care, but $10 million into a portfolio project. Right, 20% waste looks like that. Okay, so that is, on the face of it, the cost of the spreadsheet. But it's worse than that, because we expect a return on that investment. We could have invested that money in projects that actually generated positive movement forward for the business. So let's say you expect a 3 times return on investment. That means we're missing out on $6 million of value. Excuse me. So that spreadsheet is not free. The method and the process you use to prioritize matters, and it can have a huge impact on the business. Again, there's research that says that this is actually the alignment of your investments with strategy is more important to the overall performance of the organization than the strategy itself, right? So this is the critical step in the whole strategy and execution process. So I mentioned that we have a whole bunch of materials. This is, so here's the QR code again. Feel free to take a little zap again. And again, I'll pop it up at the end. I'll put this in just to let you know, there is actually an ultimate guide to project prioritization that you can download, an ebook, which talks through a lot of this and will get you started on the path to good prioritization. So I'm not going to spend any more time talking about the how. I'm happy to stick around as long as I can before my life gets restless, because she's the boss at the end of the day. So I'm happy to stick around and kind of talk through some of this stuff with you. But let's press on from there. So the incredible duckling is grumpy, angry, stomping around. Does this guy look like any of the executives in your organization? Probably does, right? And the reason is that, you know, your projects, you can think of them as falling into two main categories. There's more than two, but let's keep it simple. The first category is those keep the lights on projects, business as usual. BAU stands for business as usual projects, mandatory projects. You know, everybody calls it sustained projects. People call them all kinds of things. And they're below the waterline. Those are things that, you know, we have to do, but they're not really moving the business forward. And then you've got the projects that are above the waterline, the ones that really move the business forward. They you know, so again, some people might call them strategic projects, business projects, growth projects, development projects, whatever you call them. You know, it's the ones that the executives really want to drive the business forward. And in most organizations, we see 70 or 80% of the ducks, right? So 70 or 80% of the projects are below the waterline. Right, they're below that line. They're all about business as usual, keep the lights on type of stuff, which means only a quarter of the ducks are actually moving the business forward. Right? That's why the incredible duckling is so sad. So the Iron Mallard, right? He's a pretty clever guy, right? Also, Tony Stark, he's pretty clever. So he's got an idea. He says, now, if we could just push the water level down a little bit, right, let's push it down 1 duck's worth, then we've actually doubled the number of ducks above the waterline. Right? Remember, your executives, they don't really care about the yellow ducks. They only care about the green ducks. Right? So how can we push this water level down? Prioritization is the key. Okay, and I'll show you how. So once you've prioritized, one of the most powerful ways of visualizing that, of helping your executives do something with it, because at the end of the day, there's no point prioritizing stuff if you don't then use that prioritization to drive value, to deliver more eggs. So what this represents is the amount of value you get from your portfolio as you spend more money, right? So as you're going in this direction, we're spending more money and we're getting more value. So here's value, money. And the way to read this, or the way to think about this, is if I spend, you know, 4 pennies, I get a certain amount of value. In this case, I get the green arrow's worth of value. Now, if I spend another 4 pennies, I only get this smaller orange arrow. And if I keep going, right, I'm getting less and less value back for my investment, right? So this is the law of diminishing returns. You may have heard of Pareto's law or the 80-20 rule. They're all kind of the same thing, right? It's basically most of the value comes here. And yet, most organizations are resourcing this way, right? So when somebody says, Oh, it's a must-have project because it's keep the lights on. We've got to do it. Okay, we've got to do it. Do we? Do we really have to do it? Or when you do? Okay, so we're deploying 10 ducks and we're getting 8 eggs of value back. Right? Remember, the eggs are the value. We only care about how many eggs we're getting. And when you're in this sort of business as usual portfolio, the eggs are really usually about reducing risk, especially there were a couple of people in the IT department. This is especially true in the IT department. It's about reducing risk and upgrades and things like that, security. Now, you have, if you remember, you have the other portfolio as well. We've got the business, the strategic portfolio. You'll notice these eggs are golden, right? These are the eggs the executives love. They want more golden eggs. Give me golden eggs. Right? But we've only got 2 ducks left, right? Because we've only got so much capacity to run ducks, to run projects. So we're only getting 4 golden eggs. So here's an idea. Why don't we just take some of those resources away from the business as usual portfolio? Now, usually when I say that, people go, oh, but they must have projects. Are they? Are they really? I mean, when we take 2 ducks away, 20% of the ducks away, in this case, we've only lost half an egg, right? Would the business notice that? Probably not. Probably not. The world would not end. But if we then move those ducks into the strategic portfolio, right, we get 2 whole new golden eggs. That's a 50% increase in the strategic return on investment to the business. Right? As a portfolio manager, if you do this, if you just do this, right, you're going to blow people's brains. They're going to love you, love you, love you. Right? So we've increased the value that we're delivering by some large percentage. So we got rid of 20% waste earlier, right? When we did that. Now we're reallocating between our business as usual and our strategic projects to drive more eggs and more golden eggs into the business. So that's bigger eggs, right? This is us delivering those bigger eggs. Let's move on and look at how we can tackle more eggs and fewer broken eggs. So, what is a road for? Why do we build roads? And do you want to just shout out a quick answer? Why do we build roads? Anyone?
Get forward.
Get forward. Yeah.
Get forward, okay.
What,
to get
or
what
who?
forward?
Yeah.
To get what forward?
People and goods.
Correct.
People and
and
goods. Oh, nicely done. Nicely done. You didn't fall for my trap. So what I was hoping somebody would say is cars. But that's not why we build roads. We don't build roads to get cars from A to B. We build roads to get people and goods from A to B. So in this scenario, right, the people are the eggs, the people are the value, the business value, the cars are the projects, and the road are the resources that we have available to deliver those projects. And right now, we have no cars on the road. And that obviously means we're not delivering any value. So what should we do? Again, shout it out. I'm going to be calling on you to shout things out. So be ready, guys. I know this isn't very Swedish, but go for it. So what should we do here to get some value?
On the road.
Yeah, put some cars on the road. So we put some cars on the road. They get to the end of the journey. People get out. We go, yay! We got some value, hurrah! Right? So we add some more projects and more cars. Right? We add more cars. Let's say we get to 30% utilization now. This is great. The cars are moving along really quickly. Right? People are getting to the destination, and we're celebrating. And you sort of get to this point, right? And then the executives wake up, and this is dangerous, right? Because what the executives say is, if we added cars and we got more value, let's add more cars. Let's go for 100% utilization, right? Forget 30% utilization. Let's go for 100% utilization. You can't get better than 100% utilization. But we have words for 100% utilization of a road. Anyone? What's a word for 100% utilization of a road?
Traffic jam.
There we go. Traffic jam, gridlock, call it what you like, right? This is what 100% utilization looks like. And it's because you've got resource contention. Everybody's trying to use the same bit of road and you can't. And so everything just kind of slows down. Guess what? Same thing happens in projects. This is why the portfolio management, this is one of the reasons portfolio management is so important. So if you have no projects, no utilization of your people, so this is utilization of your resources and the value delivered on this axis, right? So if you have no utilization or low utilization of people, you're not delivering much value. So you add more projects and you add more projects. And somewhere here, right, something interesting happens. Projects start competing for resources and you start getting collisions and, arguments and all kinds of things going on. Now, this happens typically, the top of this hill is round about 80 to 85% utilization of your resources. Okay, write that down, 80 to 85%, that's the magic number. Okay, not 100%, 80%. And when you go beyond that, your projects start getting slower, delayed, you start breaking eggs, projects go over time, over budget. Those of you who said you had too many projects, do any of you recognize this situation?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And in fact, this is kind of where most organizations are. Right? Now look at this. So this is people running around like crazy, not enjoying life because they're working too hard. Look at this. Look at this. They're delivering the same amount of value as you would be over here. I'd rather be over here and go to the lakes, right? Go to the lakes in the summer. You'd be delivering the same value, but better than that is if you could figure out how to get yourself on top of the hill. Now, with AHP, because we're eliminating all that waste, we're doing the bigger eggs, right? It means that it's a higher hill with AHP because we've eliminated the waste. But if we could figure out how to put ourselves on top of that hill, then we're going to deliver a huge amount more value with fewer broken eggs. And now the challenge is that this is quite difficult to do because this graph is too simple. We only have one utilization rate here, but you don't have one utilization rate. Andreas, I'd love to know how many different resource pools you've got over at Volvo, right? Just trying to figure out, you'll have developers, you'll have applications guys, you'll have architects, you'll have DBAs, you'll have security guys, you'll have, I don't know, 10 different teams. And those projects are, something like that.
Probably
right?
not enough, and then also split it up in different organizations and also components and responsibilities.
There you go.
So yeah,
right.
So certainly
so the point is you don't have one team of resources, you've got lots. So thank you for that, Andreas. That was a beautiful description. And each project is drawing from those different teams in different amounts. So how do we figure out which group of projects is going to put us on top of that hill, deliver the maximum value? And that's really hard to work out as a person. Right? But AI can do this really quickly, right? So there's a lot of hype about AI, about generative AI and things like this. I'm not skeptical about a lot of this, but there are some areas in which AI does things that humans simply can't do or can't do well, or it just takes so long and it's so hard that people don't actually do it. They could in theory do it, but they don't really do it. This is one of them. So what AI can do is simulate thousands of portfolios, hunting for the one, intelligently hunting for the one that delivers the most value. So the AI can put you on top of the hill in a minute or two. Right? So we did one last week. We did a little demo for someone, and the AI simulated something like 2,000 portfolios and found the best one, and it did it in about a minute. Right. You couldn't do one portfolio. You couldn't analyze one scenario in a minute as a human being. So this is absolutely game changing. And when I said earlier that now the technology is allowing everyone to do this. This is kind of what I meant. Is the technology, without this kind of technology, it'd be really hard to put yourself on top of that high hill. When you do, you get all this extra value. And then one more thing. So the other little tip I'm going to give you is to use portfolio management and prioritization to stagger projects. So what most organizations do is, is they will start all of the projects on day one. Right? So it's the first day of the year, and the budget's been approved. So let's get going. Right? Your executives are shouting. Everybody's saying, "I want my project started, started." So what do? You start time slicing. Right? So the dark blue guys, they do a week on project 1, a week on project 2, a week on project 3, then they move back to project 1, 2, 3. Now this is great because you can go to all of the project sponsors and you can say, "Oh, we started your project," and they're happy. But here's the problem. Two huge problems. The first problem is when you're task switching like this, there's a hidden cost, which is 30 to 40% of your time goes into task switching. Right? You lose 30 to 40% of your time managing that task switching process. Okay. Does anybody in the room, you don't need to answer this one, but just think about it. Does anyone in the room have so much resource available that they can afford to just throw away 30 or 40% of their capacity? I suspect the answer is no. But anyway, right, so you go through this and then you hand it on to the next team and the next team. And eventually out here, you get your first projects finished. So here's an idea. Let's flip this around. Let's not do that. Let's focus on, and Martin, this is your slow down, speed up thing, right? Let's focus on delivering one project. And let's stagger the project so that you'll see this resource here, this light blue resource, these guys are the ones that are most in demand. Right? So we're going to stagger the project so that as these guys roll off this project, they roll straight onto that project, and they roll straight onto that project. And when you do this, first of all, we've got rid of that inefficiency from task switching. So we've got capacity to deliver one or more projects, extra free projects. Oops, sorry. One or more free projects. What just happened here? Behave. There we go. All right, we're back. To get one or more free projects. Right? But just as importantly, look what's happened here, right? Look where we delivered the value for that project in the first scenario. And then look where we're delivering the value here. Right? That's a huge difference. Now, let's say this project is delivering $10,000 of cost saving per week. Right? That's the goal of that project. That project has now just delivered $80,000 extra that we wouldn't have got doing it the old-fashioned way. That is driving your return on investment up. That's more eggs. Right? That's good. This is exciting. Now, to do this, you need to be able to build a resourced roadmap, right, that doesn't overload your people. So figure out which order to do the projects, because this is a really, this is a too simple example, right? But we want it so that our most in-demand resources are just rolling from project to project like this in a really nice way. And again, you can kind of do this in some PPM tools where you can drag and drop projects around, but it takes hours and hours. And the first time, usually what happens is the first time someone gets something to kind of work, they stop and they say, "That's it, that's our roadmap," right? It's in no way optimized. It just kind of works. So again, this is somewhere where AI can help. We built a really fun tool that does this as well, where you basically just press a button and the AI will figure out it. Again, it'll try thousands of simulations to figure out, to hunt for the roadmap, the sequence of projects that delivers the most value without breaking your people. Right. So again, you figured out which projects will put you on top of the hill. This then figures out which order to deliver them. So this is real portfolio management. You couldn't do any of this without the foundation. You can't put yourself on top of the highest hill if you don't know which projects deliver value. So the prioritization piece absolutely underpins all of this. But this, when you get to this level, we're now into building that roadmap and being able, when things change, and things always change, being able to update that roadmap in a couple of minutes. Again, I was demonstrating this to someone last week, and it was a government agency, and we hit the button, and there were, it was only about 70 projects or something in this portfolio. And it took about a minute to come up with a roadmap. And in that minute, it threw up how many numbers. In that minute, it simulated 750,000 roadmaps, 750,000 ways of organizing your project, and then figured out which one was the best. Could a human do that? Absolutely not. Could a human do that in a minute? No. So this is really interesting. So the technology is really changing what you can do with portfolio management. And so because we've now, right, so the iron duckling pushed us down, right, pushed the water level down, and Captain Quackmerica here means that we're now delivering more projects, right? We're putting ourselves on top of the higher hill. We're eliminating that resource content, those battles for resources, and we're getting more projects done. So by adding another duck on top of here, right, we actually tripled the value, not just doubled it, right? So now we're delivering so many more eggs that the business just can't live without the amount. So is it possible to double? Yeah, like 100%, absolutely, yes. We've got a webinar with a customer who has done this in the next couple of weeks coming up. So look out for that and hear their story. Don't take my word for it, hear their story. And it's all about reduce waste, which is prioritization, push down the water level, put yourself on top of the higher hill and stagger them. Okay, so it's not just as simple as saying, hey, let's just prioritize and things will get better. You've got to then use it to drive this. This is, somebody mentioned, who was it, mentioned governance. One of you, I wrote it down, one of you mentioned governance earlier, right? So this is what governance is doing this, right? So you can call it portfolio management, you can call it good governance, you can call it all kinds of things. But fundamentally, if you follow this kind of process, you will deliver a huge amount of extra value to the business. And the key thing here is that the prioritization piece in particular is very human, right? It's very subjective, it's very human. And that's why you need something like AHP, because without that, the humans don't work properly. So it's artificial plus human that gives you the intelligence to do this. It's not about artificial intelligence, it's not about human intelligence, it's artificial plus human equals intelligence. Okay. So there's the QR code again. As I say, there's a load of materials there on, and I haven't spent any time today on how to prioritize. There's loads of materials there to get you going. There's a little short course that goes a little bit deeper into the topics that I've talked about here and tells you a little bit more about staggering and how to do that, things like that. And as I say, one of the first steps in the prioritization journey is thinking about criteria. And there's a whole ebook, 2 ebooks, in fact. It's the beginner's guide and then the actual implementation guide for developing criteria that really work for project prioritization. So I encourage you to go zap this thing. I'm just going to leave it there for a couple of seconds. Zap this thing and download as much of those materials as you like. All right.
Right.
Martin, how was that? That was about 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, you did great. Well, timing is spot on, exactly. Any questions still or remarks or anything to Stu?
Shocked silence.
Yeah.
Crystal clear.
Yeah.
Just give me some eggs.
Give me some eggs.
Give me some eggs, right? So I tell you what, guys. If Martin, if I send you some little rubber ducks, so normally we at conferences and things we give out little rubber ducks, and they're silly little rubber ducks, right? They're all crazy ducks, like elephant ducks and giraffe ducks and things like this. Right? If I send you a bag, Martin, would you be able to circulate a duck to each person? Yeah,
that sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
And now here's what I want you to do with those. Right, I want you to keep it. Don't take it home for the kids. Don't take it home for the dog. Right, put it on your desk at work. And when somebody starts talking about all the details of their projects and the inward workings of their burned down shop or whatever it is they're talking about, right, pick up the duck and wave it at them and say, stop talking about the duck. Tell me about the egg and what you're doing to protect the egg, right? And this, we're going to use humor and fun to change the whole culture of project delivery. And if you work with me, we can do it, right? So so Martin, I will get you some ducks, and if you could circulate them, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I will. That's appreciated. Thanks, Stuart. So again, any questions or something? Again, as Stuart said, the material is available. We're also working on translating it to Swedish, actually, parts of it. It's extensive, so we start small, but still, we think that to make it even more accessible. So yeah, thanks, and we should also thank your wife to allow us to do this at in a way her inconvenience, so to say. I hope you get a great weekend and get back to a well-cleaned house.
Well, that's going a bit far, Martin. I'll be happy if the house is still standing. And so one thing before I disappear and let you all revert to Swedish, which I'm sure will be more comfortable for you. So my colleague Dan, my VP of Customer Success, is coming to Sweden next week.
Exactly.
And so for anyone who really wants to get a jump on this, right, I would recommend, have a chat with Martin and see if there's a way we can set up some time while he's there to meet. And what I would suggest you do with that time is start to think about one of two things. You probably won't find to do both. Either start working on the case for change, right? Because this requires, you can't just buy software and make this stuff happen. It's about changing people, process, culture, all that stuff. And that's why guys like Martin and the team there are so valuable, because they have experience navigating that change. So Dan can help you start working on that case for change, or, and this might be a better use of his expertise while he's there, I would start working on the criteria for your organization, thinking about what criteria would make sense for the product, and maybe take a look at, for prioritization. So those criteria are absolutely crucial. So, Dan does this with, he's done it with the US House of Representatives, with some of the world's biggest consumer goods companies. He's done it with, some of the world's biggest manufacturing companies. So take advantage of him. He's there, I think, for 2 days, Martin, something like that.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. And I was going to refer to that in particular by the end as well. Anyway, so, but so consider the offer already, and I'll explain it a bit more by the end of this meetup anyway. So, well, very much appreciated, Stuart. Looking forward to the docs. Enjoy Dublin, not too much Guinness.
No.
See you around.
Thank you, guys. I think that was the polite Martin way of saying, Stuart, go away now.
Well,
thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Andreas. We'll talk as well.
Bye. Yeah, thanks. I will also disconnect. Yeah, thanks a lot. Super.
Bye.
Bye.
So, and it's